What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. And today we'll be looking at Arsenal, as the title says, linked with everyone, but signing no one. Every day, another transfer link. Someone else is going to sign for the club. The funny thing is, I went away last week and I was thinking, right, when I get back, we'll have signed somebody, we'll have sold somebody. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing what transfer business we've done. And Arsenal, you know, same situation. Every day, new transfer links. I thought Granit Xhaka would have been long gone, you know, Roma, Jose Mourinho, and nothing at all has happened. Transfer stories flying around everywhere, but nothing done. Link FC, as you say, man, we're linked with everyone. What's going on? We're starting one person on deadline day. Hey, big up Akeem, man. Big up Axe. Mediocre FC. I just don't understand Arsenal in the transfer market. I hope everyone's safe and well. Big up everyone for tuning in. Obviously, like I said, content now we're running through right up until the end of the season. I will start doing some Euros games as well. I will be doing a live stream for the Germany against Portugal game, at 5 o'clock tonight. So make sure you come back and join me for that one. Should be a big game. Cristiano Ronaldo settings. History channel back again, man. We've got a Nelka again today. Like, I told you, I ain't putting these man on the green screen. Until these man go and spend some money, buy some players, I'm not interested. I'm sick of us being linked with everyone. We've been living that life for years, man. Benzema, Yanam Villa, Higuain, Luis Suarez. You know, all these players that we were linked with and never managed to get through the door. I don't want to hear all that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we'll be CR7 settings later still. If you know me, I'm a big fan of CR7 still. But listen, let's get into it. Let's look at the stories that are doing the rounds. I mean, this one, it's one of those stories that if it was any other of the big teams, you'd be excited. You'd say, yeah, you know, this looks great. But because it's Arsenal, I just can't get my head around this piece of transfer news that has come out today. And I'm going to show you. It's regarding our owner, Stanley Kroenke. And look at Mikel. Do you know what? Mikel Arteta, I feel like I haven't seen his face for a long time, concentrating on international football. This story for me is just madness. Let's break down the story, though. There is some truth in some of it, but a lot of it, I think, is a lie and fabricated. Arsenal are prepared to spend nearly 250 million. I mean, I should just stop. I should just stop right there. Arsenal are prepared to spend 250 million. What, over the next 10 years? Like what? You know what I mean? On Football Manager, on FIFA? What are we talking about? But anyway, Arsenal prepared to spend 250 million on at least 5 new signings this summer, giving Mikel Arteta the chance to rebuild the squad. 90 Minutes has learned that Arsenal have been given the green light by the Kroenke family. I mean, do you know what? Sometimes I don't even want to report certain things that get reported because I just think, but you know what it is? You can't afford to not do it when you're a content creator in case it's the truth. You know, if I sat there and said, I remember when Pepe, we offered for him, David Ornstein said we couldn't afford it. 2 weeks later, he was holding up an Arsenal shirt. So you can't ignore it. But do I believe it? No, not for 1 second. 250 million. Like, they wouldn't give Arsene Wenger 250 million when he was a legend at the football club. So why am I going to believe that a manager with 2 years left on his deal that I think could lose his job this season if the season doesn't go well? Why would Stan Kroenke give him 250 million pounds to spend? Like, I don't. Man said more like £2.50. I'm telling you, man. Right. So, as you've said here, Akash, Stan Kroenke has taken out a loan from Barclays to help the running of the club and to help boost the transfer kitty. Now, Apparently, it's a very big loan with very little interest. I suppose a lot of people will be frustrated and say, for an owner that doesn't put any money into the football club, why is he constantly taking loans out? He took a loan out to help the running of the club last season, 120 million. He then took another loan out to pay back the 120 million pound loan to stop the interest that was amounting on that first loan. That does happen sometime in business. You take out a loan for a year. At the end of the year, there'll be huge interest. So what they'll do, they'll take out another loan to pay off that loan. It boosts your credit, gives you more time to pay the loan. And, and that's how it works often in business. Does anybody actually believe that Stan Kroenke, even if he has taken out £250 million, that he's just going to hand that over to Mikel Arteta to spend on transfers? We all know. Believe what happens and not what you read when it comes to Arsenal. Now, when this story expands, it says here, the rebuild, which will be led by Edu, will primarily target younger players that have the potential to improve and their value will increase. The development of players into more expensive assets is a significant part of the Kroenke's willingness to spend. It still won't be 250 million. It still is not going to be 250 million. What I would say, Arsenal fans, I believe we have a new kit coming out this month. And, season ticket renewals are still available. This stinks of PR to me. Trust the PR process back in full effect. Does anybody think Arsenal are going to go and spend 250 million? Do I think they'll spend 200 million? No. Do I even think they'll spend 150 million? Probably not. I believe our biggest transfer window was Unai Emery's, the start of his second season, when we spent around 115 million pounds. That was our record transfer window. I don't see Arsenal going and spending 250 million. It's just not going to happen. They will use some of that to help run the club, pay off some debts, and a lot of the transfer business will come from the players that are sold in my opinion. We have no money. It's that simple. I mean, listen, the club have money, but these guys are milking the money off them, Seeing Kroenke down cash converters. Yeah, man's dashing computers and stuff in there, It's like how Levy swindled with the Conte link. Yeah, listen, it happens. It happens. Season ticket renewals are there. Spurs get linked with Conte. All the Spurs fans get excited, renew their season tickets. They're expecting excitement, and then next minute they can't get anybody to take the job. This is what happens. Arsenal, for me, will not spend 250 million. The story goes on to say, Arsenal are initially focusing their search on a new goalkeeper, central defender, fullback, and 2 central midfielders. However, with the club also keen to move several players on, which could additionally help raise funds, there could be more as well. So these lot are trying to say we're getting 250 million from Stan Kroenke plus what we earn in player sales. So I'm supposed to believe that Arsenal are going to go and spend 300 million in a transfer window. Come on. Do me a favour. This article has no real backing. I do agree that the club have taken out a loan. That is a fact. I don't think all the money that he's taken will go into transfers. I think a lot of what we spend this summer will have to come from player sales. You look at players like, man said it's 250 million rupees. Spec Triple 8 said, thanks for reading my comments. Wilson said, Arsenal need Basuma, Lokonga, Maddison, and Ben White. It's just crazy that these articles get written. Interesting that they're saying a new goalkeeper. Will that be a first choice goalkeeper? We're being linked with goalkeepers who seem like number one keepers. So will Leno be sold, or are we looking for a backup if Matt Ryan doesn't come back? Matt Ryan is now being linked with a move to Celtic. Now, he may think going to Celtic and being number one up there is better than sitting on the bench and being the second choice goalkeeper at Arsenal, window shopper businessman, 50 Cent. You remember this? You remember the song, man? Arsenal, your window shoppers. Mad at me. I think I know why. No, we're looking. You know, like when you come back from your city centre, you go, "Yo, I saw some nice Louboutins in the window, man. £1,500. You might even go in the shop. You might even try them on." And then you tell the saleswoman, "Yeah, do you know what? I'll come back. What time do you close? 6 o'clock. Yeah, I'll come back for them." You still ain't got them Louboutins. You know, Arsenal might have rang Leicester and said, "Oh, Maddison, 60 million. Yeah, what time do you close, mate? Yeah, we'll come back for him." Oh, dear. Big up Ozzy said, "Yo, Curtis, it's been a while. Hope you're well, bro. I'm good, bro. Thank you very much for tuning in, as always, people. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already as well. We're only 50 away from 27,000 subscribers. It'd be great if we could hit that today. Yeah, you need to go in the store and actually buy, you know. But listen, 250 mil, I just don't see that. And like I said, it's interesting. They say full back. I think we need two fullbacks. I think we definitely need a left back to help Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney was fantastic last night for Scotland against England. Far better than England's left back, Luke Shaw, that I felt played okay, but I thought Tierney was fantastic. Of course, Tierney set to sign a new 5-year contract. Arsenal were terrible last season, and now I'm watching England play terrible football as well. And like you said here, England was like watching Arsenal. In fact, you could say it was even worse because Gareth Southgate has actually got fantastic options to use and doesn't seem to know how to use them. Like Jadon Sancho sitting on the bench for 90 minutes. Like, what? Has he not seen this guy because he plays in Germany? It doesn't make any sense. Absolutely dreadful. Sterling was poor. Foden, I thought, was okay. But as I said before the tournament, I don't think that England, will use Phil Foden properly. Harry Kane, 19 touches in the game. He looked overweight. Looked like he couldn't run. Playing Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips, 2 CDMs against Scotland. Oh, man. Declan Rice, I've said for a long time, and a lot of people disagree with me. I think that guy is severely overrated, Declan Rice. Limited footballer, in my opinion. And don't see why Bellingham is not in the team. I have no idea why a guy that scored in a Champions League quarter-final against Man City can't get in an England midfield. You know, England's 2 centre midfielders play for West Ham and Leeds United. No disrespect, but that isn't going to happen. You know, you ain't going to beat France, Portugal, Germany, Spain, Italy with a West Ham and a Leeds guy centre mid. Yeah, I'd rather have Basmati Rice than Declan Rice. More useful. Oh, dear. Kane has been drinking too much Coca-Cola, getting overweight. That's why Ronaldo's moving it out of the way at the press conference. Get that Coca-Cola away from me, you know what I mean? Honestly, I don't get it. I don't get the Declan Rice hype. I remember at one stage he was being linked with Chelsea for 70 million. But he's a limited player. Limited. Good at winning the ball back, but he's severely limited on the ball. Grealish, Sancho, and Saka need to play. I would have no problem with them guys being involved. Get Sterling out of the team. Foden, we're not getting the best out of him. And I remember doing the Euros preview before the tournament started, and I said that if this system doesn't work for Foden, you won't see the best of him. We're playing him like a right winger hugging the touchline. For City, he drifts between the lines, gets in the penalty area, man. You know, it's not happening. Big up Hal Beast said, "Yo, Big C, life is better with Curtis TV therapy." Yeah, man, listen, Arsenal, man. Uncle Ben's Rice better than Declan Rice. Arsenal are moving slow. I put out a tweet. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, there's no rush. The window's only been open a few weeks, this, that, the other." We're the ones playing catch-up. We're the ones who finished 8th in the Premier League. We're the ones who aren't in Europe next season. So we should be on the front foot when it comes to making signings. We should be the ones who get deals done early. You know, Villa signed Buendia, Liverpool signed Canate, Man U are trying to get Sancho. We should have done some business by now. We haven't even sold anybody yet. You know, it's crazy. Football enthusiast said, "I have missed this." Yeah, listen, we have to talk about these things, man. Pocket Gunner said, "Big up from West Virginia, Pocket." Kenya, 250 million, really? I mean, I don't know if it's 250 million pound, 250 million Jamaican dollars. I don't know what kind of money it is. Abbott Told you with Sterling, it's like playing with. Yeah, I think you were right yesterday. He was poor, man. Foden so overrated. Some people saying. I thought we were meant to sign players before the window started. Listen, other teams are doing it, but Arsenal can't. Let's have a look at some of the players that we're going for anyway. Players that we may eventually get done. Big up John Page said, big up Curtis, greetings from NC. Big up, bro. Why Ben White coming in? Yeah, what does it mean for Saliba? Listen, let's discuss that. Let's get into that story now. Ben White, Brighton centre-back, England international, wasn't even on the bench yesterday. And neither was Saka. So anyone linked with Arsenal doesn't get anywhere near the England team. David Ornstein said, Arsenal have submitted an offer to Brighton. While it isn't expected to be successful, 40 million bid rejected. Arsenal pursuit of the 23-year-old and target other positions continues. Now, 40 mil was rejected for Ben White. It's believed Arsenal will make a new offer of 45 million plus add-ons that will get this to go up to 50 million pounds. Now, I've seen Ben White play a few times, and I do think he is a decent player. I think he's an upgrade on Rob Holding. I think he's an upgrade on Pablo Mari. I think he's an upgrade on Callum Chambers. What my problem is with this deal is 50 million pounds. If we were Chelsea, if we were Manchester City, if we were Manchester United, teams that will spend 150 to 200 million in a window, it wouldn't worry me because those teams have expendable cash. You know, they'll buy a player and go again, go again, go again. When Arsenal spend 50 million on a player, I worry because I think, well, they're not going to spend 50 million on someone else. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this deal. I think he's decent, but I just think we're getting bumped. This guy's had one season in the Premier League. Before that, he was in the Championship at Leeds United. What has he done to justify a 50 million pound price tag on the back end of a pandemic when people said that transfers would be reduced by 15 to 20%? Why is he 50 million pounds? You know, Liverpool just signed Kanate for 35 million. Champions League player, RB Leipzig, highly rated French centre-back, 35 million pounds. We're on the verge of spending 50 million pounds for a guy with one England cap who's had one season in the Premier League. While I do like him as a player, 23 years of age, can play right centre-back, can play right back, is good on the ball. Clearly, Mikel Arteta wants a player that can play out from the back. He tries to do it with Rob Holding, but I don't think Rob Holding is good enough. If this was 30 million, I'd be celebrating it. I'd say that's a very sensible signing. England international, his price will go up. At 50 million, he's going to have to seriously become a top player for Arsenal to even get their money back on him if they were ever to sell him. Obviously, you're not signing him with the intention of selling him. But what I'm saying, you're looking at him thinking, if we did sell him, I would want to make profit. Is somebody going to come and pay 60, 70, 80 million for Ben White? I don't know. And as you say, Brighton were nearly relegated. Brighton were nearly relegated last season. Koundé is your first choice, but he won't move because of lack of Champions League football. Could get Koulibaly for 50 million plus in this market. Probably could. I think, you know, because the fact Koulibaly's like 29 now, they wouldn't go for him. Buenos Aires Gunnar said, not for 50, Curtis. Might as well go for Koundé or Tapsoba or Miles better. Mikey C said, what a title, Curtis. It felt right, man. It felt right, you know. Linked with everyone buying no one. Too much money for a good player. We need great defenders. And I hear you on that. There aren't too many great defenders around. To me, it just seems like a risk. Some of you guys might have seen more of Ben White than me. I just think when you pay £50 million for a centre-back, you should know you're getting top quality. And I'm not sure if Ben White falls into that bracket. I think he's potential. I think he's a solid player, decent on the ball. 30 million quid, 32 million quid. Yeah, I could get my head around that. 50 million at Arsenal as well. You know, I don't know. I don't know. It worries me. Now, where this story worries me even more is William Saliba. William Saliba. This situation with William Saliba is absolute madness. Now, I said this a few weeks ago. Clubs are being linked with Saliba, right? Clubs are apparently making offers. Newcastle want him on loan. We're now being told that Marseille want to sign him. When numerous clubs come in for a player, it usually means there's a feeling, whether that's from the agent or whether that's from the club, that the player might be able to be bought. Why do Marseille want him on a permanent deal, apparently, or a loan? Why do Nice want him again? Why do Newcastle want him? Why are they making inquiries for him? There must be rumours coming from Arsenal that Saliba could potentially be available. Maybe, I said before, I think Arsenal are treating Saliba like he's on trial. I think what they've said to him is, come back for pre-season. If you do well, we'll keep you. If you don't, we'll get rid of you. Mikel Arteta's clearly got a personal issue with William Saliba. I don't know what it is. I think Arteta struggles to deal with these younger, sometimes flashy players who maybe have got a little bit of an ego. You know, you imagine being like 18, 19. You're playing for Arsenal. You're on 50 grand a week. You're probably a millionaire now, and you've come from poverty. You're gonna be feeling yourself a little bit like, yeah, man, I'm doing well here, man. I might have a little bit of an ego, but you have to learn to deal with that as a manager and learn how to harness that in the right way. You look at your Guendouzi's, your Martinelli's, your Salibas, your Ainsley Maitland-Niles, these kind of players. It doesn't look like Arteta deals with those players very well, and that's what worries me. Saliba's 20 years of age. He turned 20 in March. He was named as one of the best centre-backs in France last year, despite the fact he only played half a season at Nice last year. Now, I hear this theory a lot of the time that Arsenal's defence was so much better last season. Some people have said, you know, Arsenal didn't... In terms of the Premier League, we conceded the third least goals in the Premier League this season just gone. Now, as strange as it sounds, I still don't think that means our defence was great last season, because we lost 13 games in the league. So, in theory, we're conceding less goals, but we're losing more games. So, I would rather lose 5 games 3-0 than lose 13 games 1-0. All right, you've conceded less goals, but you've lost more games. Points are more important than goals scored and conceded. So we have this theory now amongst the Arsenal fan base that we don't need a centre-back. You know, we've got all these centre-backs and we conceded the third least. I actually don't think we were great defensively last year. We lost home and away to Everton, who finished the season really poor. Home and away to Wolves. Manager left. They were poor last year. We lost and drew to Burnley last year. Burnley of all teams, people, you know, we were not great last season. So I don't get this thing that our defense is great. I look at Gabriel. I think he's got massive potential. Left-sided centre-back. I think he'll become a Brazilian international. I think Saliba's got potential, although there is a massive question mark over him because we haven't seen him in the Prem. I think Pablo Mari's okay. I think he's a good backup player. Holding, I think he's average. Callum Chambers is okay because he's versatile, but he's never going to be the answer. Neither is Holding. So I do still think we could do with a centre-back, but I don't understand the problem with William Saliba. Harold said Arsenal will go back in with an offer of 40 million and £1. Thank you very much for the super chat, Harold. Listen, they probably will know in Arsenal, to be honest. I'm just frustrated. I'm just frustrated because I don't understand what the problem is with William Saliba. Why is he not being given a chance? How come he goes to France, does really well, and we've got players like Rob Holding, who I think we all know are not. We're never going to get in the top four with Rob Holding in the team on a regular basis, but he won't give Saliba a chance. I don't understand what the problem is. Henry said, I'm unfortunately optimistic about the White interest because it means we're spending money. I hear you on that sense, because what it makes Arsenal fans feel, and I understand it, we have to try and be optimistic in a sense. We're looking at it going, well, hang on a minute. If Arsenal can spare 50 million on a centre-back, and that's not even the number one priority, surely there's another 50 million for the attacking midfielder, 30 million for the right back, maybe 30 million for the centre midfielder. You just feel like they're going to spend a lot of money if they're spending 50 million on a centre-back. So that's where you can be positive, but you never know with Arsenal. This could be the marquee signing of the summer. Home and away to Villa. Yeah, you're right. 6 points against Villa. Slapped us all over the place last year with Grealish and them, man. Saliba made Liga team of the season next to Marquinhos. Say no more. In 6 months, if we get rid of Holding and get White, keep Saliba, I'd be happy with that. I'd take that. Listen, from a positive note, what I will say about Ben White, decent on the ball from what I've seen. Plays right-sided centre-back. You can clearly see that Mikel Arteta wants to play out from the back. He's 23, so you would believe he can get better and better and better. So in that sense, it's not bad. The price a little bit over the top. I think 50 million puts a lot of pressure on him to perform. Any little mistake that he makes, people are going to be on his back. Melbourne said, big up to the Arsenal therapist. Hey, man, listen, we have to do it. If Arteta didn't want players with attitude, why get Maddison when he fell out with a manager? Yeah, I mean, Maddison, of course, broke rules at Leicester. But we'll have to see. In general, I think he's pretty good when it comes to his behaviour. Runjan said Saliba is quick and athletic, what we need. Exactly. We do have slow centre-back. Yo, put that mug back in the shot. Yo, it's cheap promo, man. Coming soon, people, man. Don't worry. The merch is coming as well. We're just sorting it out. Yeah, get the likes up on the video, people. Smash the likes. Subscribe. Let's hit 27K today. I'm mindful of time. Obviously, there's games coming up today. I know the French game starts soon, so I want to try and get this wrapped up for you guys. Stones was 50 million. Yeah, came from Everton, though, who were a lot higher than Brighton at the time, and he was already an international. Exercise said, I'm a City fan. I've changed my allegiance. Oh, dear, don't blame you. Save yourself some pain. Great promo. Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with a shameless plug, man. Curtis, do you believe in the 250 million budget? No chance. Now, this is from the AFC Bell. Seen a few of you tweeting. AFC Bell tweeted about 45 minutes ago. He put, despite a new contract last summer, James Maddison's camp is not closing the door to the idea of him leaving Leicester City this summer. He understands that members of the players' camp have notified Arsenal that the player is open to a new challenge if a suitable offer arrives this summer. Now, I believe that Leicester would sell James Maddison at the right price. I honestly do. Where that kind of belief comes from, in my opinion, is I think Leicester want to invest. I think they all try and spend money. But if you look over the past couple of years, they have sold a big player. They sold Ben Chilwell to Chelsea, 50 million. They sold Harry Maguire to United for 80 million. And I could see them selling Maddison. And for the simple fact that with them signing Samare from Lille, very highly rated player, a lot of clubs, including Arsenal, were chasing him. With them having Ndidi and Tillemans, I think Leicester may utilise a three-man midfield rather than playing with an out-and-out number 10 in Maddison. As I say, only if the right offer comes in. I don't think they're actively trying to sell James Maddison. He obviously had one or two discipline problems with Brendan Rodgers last season as well that got him dropped. And I think Maddison is the kind of player that would probably want to move on. I think he's ambitious. I think he's very disappointed that he didn't get in the England squad. He may have looked at it and thought, you know what? Is it because he plays for Leicester? Even though Leicester are doing well in the Premier League, they're not high profile in terms of, that big glamorous name. So I think if Arsenal, and I agree with Mikey, I think 60 million would ask a real question of Leicester. Big up Fran in the chat. Go follow FFTV. Yes, people are. We all. Everyone's good. Listen, Obi said here, Maddison, not for me. I like Maddison. I like him. I think he's a quality player. What I like about James Maddison, he scores goals. I've said for a long time, I'm sick of Arsenal having number 10s that don't score. Ozil didn't really score. Odegaard doesn't really score. I want a number 10 that can get double figures from that position. And I think Maddison's got goals in him. I mean, he got 8 goals, 5 assists last year. Listen, I think he can improve on that. And he didn't play all the games last season either. I like Maddison, 24 years of age, a lot of potential. I think he's quality. Takes set pieces as well. If you could get Maddison for £60 million, I would be all over it. People saying Grealish. The problem you got with Grealish is this. Number one, Grealish plays better off the left. Grealish plays better off the left. Can he play in the 10? Probably yes, but he plays better off the left. He also will be more difficult to get out of Villa because number one, he's more expensive. And number two, he's a boyhood Villa fan. It's going to be very difficult to pull him out of Aston Villa. Well, I think Maddison's willing to go. I honestly do. Unless they're going to ask for 80 or 90, I think they'll let him go for 60 to 70. I really do. They knew United were desperate for Maguire. He was their best centre-back at the time. They knew United would pay it. I think Maddison finished the season quietly, had those issues with the discipline and the COVID. I would definitely think he would cost about 60 million. Arsenal fans being picky, we finished 8th. I'm telling you, we'd be lucky to have him. We got to be real. We'd be lucky. Listen, you know my thoughts, Neil. Mateus Pereira, I would take him. But if they go for Maddison, I would be very happy with that. Goal scorer, take set pieces, still a good age. Only 24. A lot of improvement, I think, can happen in his game. So for me, James Maddison will be a fantastic signing. Sabitzer, 15, 20 mil. I see his pass the other day was outstanding. I do like Sabitzer. But Arsenal haven't even been linked with him. Lee Chappie won't be happy. He won't, but Leicester will sell players. Let's be honest. They will sell players at the right time for the right price. And I just think Maddison, with him and Rodgers having a bit of a fallout and they, they've just built this new training ground. They will be looking to raise funds. They missed out on the Champions League as well. So they haven't got as much money. Listen, I think at 60 million you could get him. Do I think it's likely Arsenal get him? Not really. I don't think it's the most likely of deals to happen. Just going through these other deals as well. Aston Villa. They are absolutely treating us like mugs, aren't they, right now? I saw some Copa America action last night. And Emi Martinez starting in goal for Argentina, keeping clean sheets, Messi and him standing next to each other. And I'm just like, Villa took our best goalkeeper for £20 million. They then snatched our number 10 target, Emi Buendia, away from us after a year of scouting him and trying to sign him. And now they're trying to sign one of our best young players. Ornstein obviously reported the other day, Arsenal reject a bid of 25 million from Aston Villa for midfielder Emile Smith-Rowe. Arsenal working to renew the 20-year-old's contract, which ends in 2023, and have no interest in selling. Villa's pursuit underlines their ambition this summer. Aston Villa are targeting Arsenal and saying, if they're ever going to get into that top 6, top 4, whatever, that they need to take out Arsenal. They view us as a weak link right now. They're obviously sitting there thinking, you know what? Smith-Rowe's only got 2 years left. We can convince him to come here and play football and enjoy himself and play with Grealish and Buendia and all these lively, young, upcoming players. Arsenal rejected the offer, but I think it says a lot about Aston Villa and says a lot about Arsenal that they believe they can try and get players from us, you know? We should be putting offers in for Grealish and trying to get their players. I looked at John McGinn last night. What a brilliant player he is. Can you ever imagine a time where Aston Villa were coming to Arsenal and trying to pick up their better players, not even like our leftovers? Arsenal need to get the contract done because I'm sure Aston Villa would have offered him a good deal. And there hasn't been anything that's come out where it said, you know, Smith Rowe is not interested. It's just coming from the club. So they need to fix up, man. You know, seriously. Big up Robbie with a super chat. Thank you very much, bruv. He said, I hope Saliba moves on and becomes another Van Dijk with someone else. Disgrace the way Arteta is treating him. Enquiry FC, get Arteta out now. I mean, may I remind everyone that Antonio Conte is still out of work and still available. Arsenal, just that for me would be the marquee transfer of the summer, but we know it ain't going to happen. Top of the league alphabetically, yeah, the season hasn't begun yet, so Arsenal are actually top of the league without a game being played. I think it's the only time this season that we will be there. Nicholas said, hey, Big C, bless up, bro, 250 million to spend. Like I said, I don't think it's 250 million pound. Maybe a different form of currency. Maybe monopoly money or something. Big up Chelsea's own with a super chat said, when was the last time Arsenal signed a player and he elevated for another big club to sign? Good players that come to Arsenal really go to the next level. It's a good point. I mean, Van Persie, maybe, went to United and won the league. You can't deny that. And maybe you're looking at Nasri. He went and won the league, but his career did go downhill after City. But it's just strange that Villa are sitting there going, you know what, let's go to Arsenal and take one of their top young players. And they're better, you know, they're making the offer with chest like they can get him. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that a team like Villa feel like they can take us. Clays Lamar said, imagine Aubameyang being in form last season. Our defense did a better job. As for my stance, but our strikers failed us. I hear you on that. You know, the defense did concede less, even though I feel like, we lost more games. But you can't even just put that attack down to Aubameyang. I think we were disjointed in attack. Aubameyang did have a poor season for his standard, but I just think we were poor going forward, similar to how England were yesterday. No cohesion in the attack. It wasn't free-flowing. Dinesh said, Aston Villa will be a top 7 team next season. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Just hope it's not at the expense of Arsenal. Our strikers failed because of Arteta's system, said, who was that? Said that? Jonathan. Speck said, that's not true. At some point, Arsenal were bottom for chances created. Yeah, they were. They were down at the bottom. Sagna and Cliche, yeah, they went and won things at City. Smash a like, yeah, get a like on there, people. Dylan said, Curtis, I disagree that Emil has shown nothing to discourage the move. Did you not see the training video where he looks at the camera and points to the badge? Yeah, you know, we've seen them things before, though, man. I've seen players kiss the badge and leave. I don't get too caught up in that. Listen, I do think he loves Arsenal, but doesn't mean these guys won't go if the right thing is not there. Imagine Conte with 250 mil. Top 4 guaranteed. Absolute guaranteed. Another player Arsenal being linked with, old linked FC, is Albert Lokonga. I won't pretend to know too much about him. I've tried to do a little bit of research on him since we've been linked with him. Patrick Timmons said, according to some Belgian reports, Thierry Henry has urged Arsenal to sign Anderlecht midfielder Albert Lokonga. The Frenchman has observed his development during his time with the Belgian national team. He has also been encouraging the move to Lokonga himself. As I said, seen some clips, seen a few highlights, tried to catch up on some game footage of him. I'm not going to pretend to know enough about this guy. I really don't. He's been called up to the Belgian squad for this tournament. He's had 2 seasons really in the team at Anderlecht, 23 games in 1920, 33 last season, 3 goals, 2 assists. He's more of a defensive-minded player. Turns 22 years of age in October. Quite a gangly player, gets on the ball, breaks up play. I think they call him the octopus or something like that for his ability to win the ball back. And Arsenal had a £12.7 million offer turned down for him. And apparently 17 million is what they've said they can offer to get him. Now, this guy might be a good player. He might be a bargain. Thierry Henry has recommended him. But this just screams to me that we're taking the cheap option. You know, he plays in a similar role to Basuma. So this just tells me if we sign this guy, we're not buying Basuma. And that worries me. That worries me because why are we not going for Basuma? The guy is literally just doing everything to get the move. He's putting up pictures with Arsenal shirts in the background. So while I don't know enough about Lokonga and I hope he's a good player, I'm just gutted that we're not going for Basuma. We're not even being linked with him at the moment. Yeah, there have been a few links to Camavinga, but I don't see that one happening, to be honest. Basuma to Leicester in 2022. The Basuma one makes so much sense, and yet Arsenal just won't go for it. Zach said he's more attacking than Basuma. KG said Basuma's already in the bag. I mean, let's hope so. Kyle said bargain basket Arsenal, reduced to clear, out of date, same old. I think he's coming in as backup to Partey rather than Basuma. I mean, I hope you're right in that sense. That would give me some encouragement, but I just don't know why we move so cheap. I'm going to get this wrapped up, people. I got one more bit of news to show you because I'm aware that France is just about to kick off, and we all want to see that, of course. I created a team on Create Formation. With the players we've been linked with, this could potentially be Arsenal's team next season. Now, I've put the guy Emerson at right back. This is the right back we were being linked with earlier in the transfer window, the Real Betis right back. So I've put him in there. Would you guys be happy with this team next season if this was potentially our team? Do you think that would be good enough to do anything? Obviously, I've put Ben White and Emerson in the defence. Lokonga and Maddison in midfield. That would be 4 new signings. Obviously, naturally for me, get a different right back. Although that Emerson is meant to be decent, Lokonga I would like to see replaced with Awar or Basuma, to be honest. Maddison I would be very happy with. Would you guys be happy with this guy coming in? With these guys coming in? South London's fine. It says people calling him the next Yaya. Listen, I'm sure we've hardly seen this guy, the majority of people. But some of you probably have. Yeah, Barcelona bought him back, but I heard they were looking to sell him straight away to make profit. Henry said top 4. Zach said top 4. Sidney said not better than Leicester. Jonathan said Saka Arteta will get top 4. Seb says no, Martinelli. Which winger do you drop for him? You know, that's my only issue. Saka's just got player of the season. I think Pepe, you got to stick with him for another year and make it work. Scenes FC with that side. I think it's all right, but listen, like I said, I would like us to maybe get a better centre midfielder than Lokonga. Would you still take Awar? I mean, Awar's another one that we've been linked with. They're saying he could be available for 25 million euros this summer, Awar, as Lyon are in a financial difficulty due to the Canal Plus TV deal collapsing in France. 25 million euros for Awar with that side. I like the way you guys are confident. Put Basuma in there and it could look decent. And this is what I'm saying, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Turn that into Basuma. And I think we're doing absolute bits. I mean, that to me, I'm not going to lie. We turn up with that team next season, I'm buying new kits. I'm not joking. We turn up with that team next season, Basuma, and I'm buying home shirts and all sorts, but I don't see it. You're looking at 30, 40 for Basuma, probably 60 for Maddison, 50 for Ben White. You're looking at 150 million already. Emerson, maybe 20 million. So you're looking at 170 million to get that team. Zach said top 4, mate. I'm telling you, United ain't that good. Easy top 4, a lot of you are saying. Yeah, man said I'm buying new kits too, all free. Do you know what I mean? But I doubt very much that will happen. It makes too much sense. When it makes sense, Arsenal, unfortunately, they don't do it. John, big up John Layer. I hope you're good, bro. He said, big up Curtis. Villa have us on the ropes. That's very bad. If we sign a top, what was you going to say, centre mid, I have to see a Denilson background. I love the way a man's got Denilson in the background, you know. I don't think anybody ever had Denilson in the background of an Arsenal picture. Cap said, I'm blowing my whole wages on kits. I'm telling you, man. South London's fine. It says balance, but not top 4 just yet. You reckon top 6 probably, something like that? I think it would challenge for top 4, though. I'm not going to lie. But I just don't see it happening. We're not even being linked with Basuma. Chris said easy top 6, possible top 4. My doubt is Mikel, and that's what I hear you on that. He'll play Maddison left wing and play Basuma false 9 or something. And like a few of you said, the issue is Arteta. He is the biggest issue at Arsenal when it comes to, you know, the way we set up and the system. Just finally, last story before I get out of here, people. Let's go and watch the France game after this. Chris Wheatley said, I'm told that Arsenal have made offers for 4 players in the past week. They're confident of wrapping up 2 of those deals soon. Believed to be Ben White and Albert Sambi Lokonga, Xhaka, Mavropanos and Guendouzi leaving, with Eddie and Nketiah also for sale. I mean, for you guys who watch the channel, you know that Eddie and Nketiah being for sale does not upset me at all, because I don't think he's good enough for Arsenal. Guendouzi, it was interesting that Guendouzi changed his profile picture on social media back to Arsenal, but I don't think that's enough to convince Mikel Arteta to give him a chance. I still think he'll sell him, which is a shame because he has got a bit of potential. Zach said Eddie, no. Mavropanos, all the rumours were that he was going to come back and be given an opportunity, but now apparently we're in talks with Stuttgart to sell him for £7 million. So looks like Mavropanos is going to go. Granit Xhaka, we've rejected a couple of offers from Roma, but the belief is they will find an agreement in the next few days of around 20 million euros, which is about £17.5 million for Granit Xhaka. I think that deal will happen. And it looks like Ben White and Lokonga could be the first 2 signings for Arsenal. Ben White, I think, as I said, decent signing, ball-playing, right-sided centre-back. I just think we're paying maybe 15, 20 million pounds too much for him. And what does the Ben White signing mean for William Saliba? He should definitely be given an opportunity to prove himself. In terms of Lokonga, if it's an addition to the squad, then it's not a problem, but he shouldn't be the main centre midfield signing. Go and get Basuma, get that deal done. That's the player that we need, in my opinion. As I said, people, this Arsenal team at the moment, we're linked with everyone and we're signing no one. And that is the unfortunate thing at the moment in terms of transfer business. People, I'm out of here. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Back with some Arsenal therapy. I'm off to watch the France versus Hungary game. I've got a few of them players in my dream team. And obviously, I'm a bit of a France supporter as well due to some family ties. I will be back later on tonight, 5 p.m. for Portugal against Germany. CR7 businessman. I'm a big fan of CR7, so I'll be pretty biased towards Portugal in that live stream. Join me for that. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. We're nearly at 27k, so it would mean a lot to me if we could hit that today. Enjoy the rest of your day, people. I'll see you at 5 o'clock for the watch along. Take care, everyone. Bless.